it has like this haze of despair over top of it. It's like, damn, I feel death.
I don't hear nobody out there. Hold it down. Hold it down.
Hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tip your favorite narrator. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube, and for a $5 monthly fee, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, we done moved on to the next book, y'all. Who's That Girl? By Eve. Now, before we get started, Philly, I don't want y'all showing y'all asses down there in the comments. We know who the hell's you are, especially you ninjas from West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. I don't want no shiz from you bitches, because we reading this Eve book. Y'all just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, Philadelphia. Because we ain't going to be able to tell you bitches nothing after reading this. When you look at a map of Philadelphia, it almost resembles the shape of a hand making the peace sign. I guess it's only right that it's called the City of Brotherly Love, though sometimes that nickname is a little ironic if you ask me. Philly was my home, though, and no matter where I gone since then, it still is. Word. Because I don't give a hell if you're over there in the Europe with that rich-ass white man. You're still a Philly girl. I was born on November 10th, 1978, at Penn Presbyterian Hospital in West Philly. My mother, Julia, was 17 when she had me and named me Eve Jihan Jeffers. My father, Jerry, was around the same age and played bass in a band. That's how my parents first met. He also used to DJ in my grandmom's basement during the summer. He'd fill that basement with people, and as a little kid, I'd go there to watch him spin soul records. For the first part of my childhood, my mom's family and I all lived in one apartment in the high rises of the Mill Creek Housing Project in West Philly. You want to talk about a full house. It was me, my mom, my grandmom, my granddad, my aunt Karen, my uncle Johnny, and eventually my cousin. So what she said was her aunt Karen and her daughter / cousin Takia shared a room. Her and her mama shared a room. Her uncle, I forget his name, he had his own room. And the grandparents had their own room. So it was a 4-bedroom house that was fully packed. So basically, my whole family lived under one roof. That's typically how it worked then. I don't know about now. I think it's getting back to that now, because the economy is so hard that your children, your adult children, can't afford to live on their own. But I want to say in the 70s, it was not unheard of for your grandmother to have her children, which worked the same way with me and my family. My grandmother had a house on Varnum Street. My Aunt Wee Wee and her family lived in one room. My Aunt Crystal and her family lived in another room, and me and my mama in another room. My uncles, Uncle Finey and Uncle Bummer, lived downstairs in the basement. So you were not pushed out of the house until you was ready. And as soon as they got ready, baby, they was out. I do have two other uncles, my Uncle Jimmy and my Uncle Jeffrey. Uncle Jimmy was in and out of prison for a lot of my life. Uncle Jeffrey wasn't allowed around the house when my granddad was home. I never asked any questions about that. Now, according to her, the place where she lived had a couple of reasons as to why it was a popular project area. You know, like popular project areas would be in Chicago, Cabrini Green. They tore that mother down. I don't know what that is. Like, to me, I'm going to the left, but forgive me. Like, to me, once you tore down Cabrini Green and you putting up all these beautiful houses, I would be like, I don't want to live on the Cabrini Green land. I mean, where did Candyman go? Mill Creek was known for the Lex Street Massacre, when 4 guys shot 10 people in a crack house on Lex Street over a busted up car and some drug money. 7 of them died and 3 were injured. It made history as the deadliest mass murder in all of Philadelphia. That was right around where I grew up. Now everything is knocked down. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? That's the bull snuff that I'm talking about. She said it was like a farm there now. But the vegetables you growing got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface man in them. The vegetables is haunted. I don't want no haunted vegetables. After my cousin Takia was born, we all moved down to the low-rise houses on a little side street called Olive Walk. If you walk through the alleyways and over to the high-rises, you'd reach the main road named Meredith Street. But everyone knew it as Murder Street. That nickname needs no explanation. The streets of West Philadelphia were checkered with guns and crack, and the unfortunate victims were the people who lived along those streets, some dying from violence, others from overdoses. I never really understood that aspect of Philly until I was a little older. I just knew it was this big city to me, one that I would spend most of my time staring at through the train windows of the L. At home, I always felt like my surroundings were so dark. It's hard to explain. No, it ain't. I've never stopped and parlayed in Philadelphia, but it's something about Philly that is the same thing as Baltimore. It has like this haze of despair over top of it. It's like, damn, I feel death in the air. That's how Philly looks, like a filthy place. I don't want no trouble out of you Philly people, but you know what the hell I'm talking about. Like they don't have no trash cans in Philadelphia or something. It's or a trash pickup budget or something. It's just weird. Like going through Baltimore, it's not as depressive as going through Baltimore, but it's something about Philadelphia that make you be like, I gotta get away from this Philly. I gotta get away from here. You're proud to be from there, but in your mind, you like, I had the hell away from this place. At home, I always felt like my surroundings were so dark. It's hard to explain. My granddad had gradually developed a drinking problem, so sometimes he would come home drunk at night, turn on all the lights in the house and just start yelling and arguing with everyone. We walked on eggshells whenever he was around, and every time he came home from work, we'd all run upstairs and hide. Then one day, many years later, he just changed and became this smiling, lighthearted person. It was crazy, but a welcomed switch. He stopped drinking, but I can't just credit it to that. In my adult years, dealing with my old relationship with alcohol, I learned to acknowledge that come to Jesus moment, because it was a total energetic shift that I noticed in him and later in me. To me in life, when alcoholism or addiction runs in your family, baby, you either run to it or run from it. And when you run to it, like Eve is talking about, you just have to go through it. It's like you wake up one day and be like, I've had enough. I'm done. Or you don't. My grandmom is a Jehovah's Witness, which is how I wound up at the Kingdom Hall. She's still devout too, waiting for those 144,000 people to be saved to go to heaven. Girl, that's changed now. They ain't even saying that shit no more, girl. You know, I mean, because it's been years and years and years and years and years. They had to conform. Changes are being made over there at the Kingdom Hall. So then she goes on to talk about how she really doesn't know much about how her grandparents ended up together and in Philly. She said that her and her cousin would make up stories calling them the Bonnie and Clyde of Philly. Okay, because Eve and her cousin Takia really didn't know their grandparents' backstory. All they knew was that granddad was from Alabama and grandmom was from Ohio. Her father's side is from North Carolina, though. On my father's side, the whole family is from North Carolina, so I spent my summers there from age 6 until I was about 12. My grandparents, his parents, lived up the street from me in Philly, so I could literally walk up the hill to their house to visit them and spend time with my dad. Let me tell you what was heartbreaking. Your grandparents is right there. The house is right there. Boop, that's where my daddy lived. Boop, right there. After a while, daddy stopped being there during the times that she was scheduled to be there. So although she knew it was a 50-50 chance that her dad would be there, she still went. Yes, she went there to visit her grandparents during the times that she was scheduled to be there. So although she knew it was a 50-50 chance that her dad would be there, she still went. Yes, she went there to visit her grandparents, but there was always that hope that my dad would be there. I get it. What she continued to say about her father was that later on he'd admitted to her that he had a drug problem. I mean, it is Philly. Don't be mad at me. I'm just being honest. It's Philly. Just like I said, Baltimore and Philly have some things in common. So do DC to a certain level. But that damn Baltimore and that Philly, them cheese is known to get down with the jookie. Okay? Now, I don't know what her daddy was doing. But like I said, it is Philly. So she appreciated the fact that her father was honest with her about his drug problem. And when your parents are honest with you as an adult, the child in you is able to forgive. She said what she also respected about her father was that when she made it famous, he didn't come around looking for her. I respect that too. Remember when Shaq Daddy came around looking for the Shaqky? He just kept disappointing me, not showing up when I invited him to my school graduation or anything else. When my mom and I moved farther away, it got easier for me to space out the visits too. I held on to that anger though, and I wasn't afraid to show him whenever I did see him. He and his brothers used to call me Evil Eve because I was always pouting when I was around them. Pause. What Eve would do, what us ladies are known to do, is just pout. She would pout because she wanted that extra attention from her father. She wanted her dad to be like, come here, baby girl, what's wrong? Can I make it better? That is the reaction that she wanted from her father so she could get that attention. As an adult, I realized it was just me trying to get a response out of my dad. Something I also realized, that same anger fueled my desire and need to be seen and heard throughout most of my early adult life. I channeled all of that rage when I first picked up a microphone. But as a kid, I just wanted my dad's attention. Though honestly, I always wanted everyone's attention. Ain't she a Scorpio? Man, them mother hunchies is successfully vicious. When you're living in a packed house with all adults and one bassinet holding your baby cousin, it's not easy to get the attention you're seeking. I get it. My mom was in school and worked a lot, so I spent a lot of time with Aunt Karen. She took me to see all the movies I wasn't supposed to, like A Nightmare on Elm Street. My mom used to say to her, "Why do you keep taking her to see this shiz?" Because I'd get so scared, but I loved it. It's why horror is still my favorite film genre to this day. My Aunt Karen was always more like a big sister to me than an auntie. We were only 9 years apart, while me and my cousin Takia were 6 years apart. Being an only child for most of my life, it really felt like I had a big sister and a little sister in them. Plus, my Aunt Karen put me up onto hip-hop. She loved music so much. So all day, every day, music was around me. She even slept with the radio on. Remember when we slept with the radio on? That's part of the reason why I know that Quiet Storm music so well, because you had to sleep with the music on. That's how you put yourself to sleep back in the day, because you damn sure wasn't going to leave on the TV all night, because after a certain point, believe it or not, you would hear dun 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 dun, and there was no TV. There was no cable. It was just, what did they call it? Like, it was like that noise. It was like, that's all you would hear. Because the TV, actually, there was nothing to watch. Nothing was on TV. I don't know if the television, all TV channels went off at, I don't know, was it 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock? And then it came back on about probably 5:30. But there was white noise. That's what they called it. White noise between a certain period. So when that white noise came on, we ain't going to listen to that damn white noise. We going to listen to the radio. And that's what she said her Aunt Karen used to do. I started writing poems when I was in elementary school at Allen Locke. I even won a bunch of awards. If rap stands for rhythm and poetry, I had the poetry part down pretty fast. Pause in the draws. I am today's years old finding out that rap means rhythm and poetry. Why you niggas ain't tell me that? Tune in tomorrow for part 2.
Hurry